Salutations. Welcome to the Cars, Bars, and Guitars podcast, episode 64. I'm AJ.
And I'm Steve.
Steve, who are we brought to you today by?
4 to the 4 to the 4.
Explain yourself.
That would just be 64 in
exponentials. 4 cubed, right? Well, Steve, in honor...
Fork you too.
Go fork yourself, Andrew Zimmern. Steve, what are we going to start the day out with?
A dear old granddad, courtesy of me having George Thorogood on the brain.
Yes.
So I'd never had any old granddad, only discover, hey, that's a booze. Much like Black Velvet, also a booze.
Mm-hmm. Booze named after songs? Have we done that episode yet?
Us and what birdsong cannery?
Well, that's true. You could just cover all of Birdsong's songs, but this is 114
fake
proof.
plastic trees now tastes more like fake plastic trees.
Ugh. I don't know what's worse, the song or the booze.
The later part.
Old Granddad is made from a unique recipe that's of more costly small grain, which is distinct flavor and body. 114 proof from Frankfort, Kentucky, which is the capital of McConnellsville.
Frankfort.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll get to the beer in a second, but here's your first taste of Old Granddad. Loud enough to knock you down. But pretty smooth to be 114 proof, right? 57% alcohol, but it drinks pretty smoothly. He's getting the tingles in his shingles. Wait a minute.
It's been 8 years since I had shingles. What are you talking about?
Shingles is from the chickenpox virus, right?
It's related. It's all herpes light.
Yes.
So they gave me Valtrex for my prescription. And if ever you need an embarrassing prescription, get that.
Steve's drinking a Daycation, and I'm drinking a Tecate, or Tecate if you're in this state.
T-Kate.
Steve, you forget how good of a beer that is. It's just a good summer beer.
And when it's $10 for a 12-pack, it doesn't suck.
Absolutely. At Kitty or Teeter?
Kitty.
Okay. It's been so long since I've shopped for like cheap beer. I usually go for the douchey neck beard stuff. But.
You know, I've been spending a lot of time just drinking at home, so trying to budget accordingly.
That's fair.
Making sure that all the wine bottles are under $10 and all the beer bottles at home are about $1 a pop or less.
Yeah. How do you like my resurfaced?
I wouldn't know. I mean, they look nice on your end.
Yeah, they remember they were peeling. Had the yeah. This is the headliner material stretched over the foam and glued. So it turned out quite nicely. I'm not sure if I can do that with that one.
It's a little small for such things. Best you could hope for like bigger, thicker pipe insulation.
You know what? Get pool noodles.
Yes, same effect.
Not sure that would be classy looking, but I don't think that really matters for us now, does it?
I think this is what you consider a low visibility area.
They're not looking at that, Steve. They're looking at your seriously sweet legs. You have pants on? Shorts? Oh, yeah, you do have shorts on.
It's 92 out, yes. Or if it was 62 out, yes.
Fair. I listened to Smoking Tire today because
Doug DeMuro.
Daddy Doug was
listened
on
to about the first half hour of it on the drive home from work.
And admittedly, you remember I used to hate Doug DeMuro, but I hated him because it was like he was writing for. Was he writing for
Auto Trader?
Auto Trader, and then he wrote for Jalopnik for a little while.
Jalopnik, then Auto Trader, and then is doing his own thing.
I think I hated him because I didn't understand what was going on. I thought he was being a show-off. Like, here's what I did with my Aston Martin. Here's what I did with my Ferrari. And he actually did it to make the videos and sell the car. He wasn't showing off at all. I was completely wrong. And you know what? He comes off. Have you listened to him on podcast before?
Yeah.
He comes off.
He had mentioned that he'd been on the last he was on the show was December of 2018, and I heard that one too.
Damn, I didn't hear that one. But he comes off a lot less douchey when he's on the podcast. Like when you're doing content videos, you kind of have to be a character. He's just a normal guy, just like us. So it's cool to hear him and Matt and Zach.
This is a car with octagonal tires.
Do you see his Yugo review?
Yeah.
Did you watch the VinWiki video of that?
No.
The owner had a horrible stomach virus. during that whole thing. He goes, he was holding back vomit the entire time. Then he goes on the test drive with Doug, and the car is very Yugo-y, so it's not a smooth ride. He held it together, though. That you should investigate that episode of VinWiki. That's a really good one. What else you got new, Steve, for the viewers and listeners? We haven't. We've been 2 weeks, so
probably the most generic white guy shopping spree ever, picking up a bunch of cargo shorts, pocket knives, and multi-tools.
You are a former scout, though,
Yeah.
so
Totally makes sense. The most recent acquisition is a 4-inch folding Uzi knife.
yeah.
Like from the Uzi company of Israel, made in China. It's like, how do you sell me a new pocket knife? It's
God.
Uzi branded.
Oh, I didn't even know. I thought Uzi was a type of gun, not a brand of gun.
It is the colloquialism for submachine gun that looks like a pistol that can fire off a lot of rounds in a hurry.
Now, is an Uzi a Tommy gun?
It's way smaller.
Okay.
Basically, something about pistol size, but with a bigger cartridge beneath it.
Okay.
Have you seen any action movies from the 80s? They are all the rage.
It's been quite a while since I've wanted to delve into that.
Or did you ever see Lord of War?
Oh, with Nick Cage?
Yeah, like it probably his best performance.
Really? Because Con
one
Air
of the
was
things is,
terrible.
One of the things early in the movie is him discussing getting into weapons trading and the Uzi submachine gun being quite popular because it could also fit in a camcorder case.
Ew.
That's about the size of this table.
Jeez. What was I gonna say? I told you a story about my Father's Day cookout I went to and kid falling.
Yeah.
So for the viewers and listeners,
not all Stevens.
there's a child named Stevie, and he's a rambunctious little guy, and he can be quite a handful. It's one of Emily's extended, because her uncle's brother's child, and he's 3 years old, and he just runs around and screams for no reason, even more so than a normal child. Well, they told him repeatedly, do not get too close to the koi pond, Stevie. Don't get too close to the koi pond, Stevie. Stevie fell into the koi pond, and I had to hold back my laughter and got glared at by Emily, but then later she's like, I only glared because I didn't want you to get in trouble. So, hey, I didn't push him in. I'm just laughing at his expense. We're always that table when we go out because the kids just screaming.
Yeah.
And that now, when going to a restaurant was a thing, I would be like, Stevie going to be there? They're like, no. All right, I'll see you guys there. Or, yes. Nope, I think I'll take a rain check.
I will order soup and wear a mask. Problem solved. Because straw.
And earplugs. Wait a second. That's not how you transmit coronavirus. You mind your own business, senor. I'll eat however I want to. So I assume your Uzi pocket knife is fairly utilitarian and sturdy.
This is a very heavy-duty looking thing.
Fair enough. And you got it from
Bargain Hunt.
And I still haven't been to Bargain Hunt. University?
Yes. Next to the Target.
Oh, right next to it?
You've got Target, Defy Gravity, Bargain Hunt, Habitat Restore.
Okay. And the Habitat Restore is the artist formerly known as the Halloween store.
Which prior to that had been the World Market before it moved over next to IKEA.
Yeah, I love World Market is one of my favorite places to go because you can get cards or furniture or candy or wine or spices or anything. I fucking love World Market. Maybe I can go work there since I thought I was going to get fired on Monday.
Yeah, lesson learned, folks. Do not reply all, even if it's just a valid concern.
It is a valid concern, but yeah, maybe don't reply all, even if it's on purpose. Steve, you ready for some beer news?
No. Tell me anyway.
All right. Steve. A man in Xizang, China, unknowingly held in his urine for 18 hours after a beer binge and his bladder burst in 3 places.
Goodness.
How do you unknowingly? That's what got me. Unknowingly burst. I mean, unknowingly, held in urine.
So for those watching, it looks kind of like this.
Let me see. That's a handsome devil. You know where I got that butterfly knife from?
Gatlinburg.
Parking lot and Norwood Food Lion near my car. So I disinfected it and kept it.
Delivered.
But how do you hold in your urine for 18 hours and unknowingly? Ouch.
How drunk were you?
I mean, it's China. They don't have high gravity beer. And it's after a beer. It specifically said beer binge. I don't know how much you have to...
Yeah.
Before it just starts seeping out. Yuck. Moving on.
Uh-huh.
Tashmoo Bar and Beer Garden of Morristown, New Jersey, no relation to the cat, has outdoor dining license revoked after photos reveal a lack of social distancing. And I pulled up the pictures, and it was...
Clusterfucky?
Think Sierra Nevada patio on a Saturday afternoon busy. Like that. That's a surefire way to get your shit closed.
Yep.
And none of them were wearing masks either. If you're going to do that, at least put the fucking cover on, but...
But we're going drinking. We can't drink with a mask on.
Dude. Velcro masks.
Yaps.
It would also be very loud. It just... Steve, there's...
I'm using to hold my car together right now, so I don't really care.
Bad news, Steve. Decatur Beer Festival officially canceled. Yeah. You didn't go last year, right?
Right.
That was the first year in...
10.
I didn't realize it
yeah,
was that many.
I made it to 10 in a row.
How much fun is that?
Yeah, it's a good one.
Maybe they're not even going to have a virtual one, which is fine, because...
I don't give a shit about your virtual thing, because then you have to buy your own booze instead of the $40 ticket to get in the door, go try everything, and then go sleep in a pizza.
Go on. What was your favorite post drunken stupor in Atlanta place to go eat when you were done there?
The first time I went to Taco Mac was pretty damn special. But before they sully themselves trying to make it up here, solid beer selection, good wings. That was my first time having lemon pepper wings. So this was back in 2008.
Oh. Lemon pepper wings are the jam, man.
Yeah.
Taco Mac is the whole place done?
They still exist in the Atlanta area, and I think there's one somewhere in Tennessee, but they have completely vacated Charlotte. Because at one time, I think there were 3 locations here.
No shit. I knew the one in University. Where were the other 2?
South Park and Huntersville.
That's right. There was one in South Park, but I didn't know about the one in Huntersville.
I went to the one in the South Park area opening day.
Yeah.
Talk about lack of social distancing.
Yikes.
When at the time they had gotten a 103-inch TV, and this was pushing 10 years ago. Because they couldn't afford the 150-inch TV.
Weak.
Jason Causey was one of the opening managers there.
That's right.
Prior to his career as Flying Saucer manager.
Mm-hmm. Did he leave, or did he get...
I don't know
okay.
the ins and outs of much of what he's done since or with whom.
He shops at my store.
Okay.
I think he and Kayla are split.
That's absolutely correct.
Yeah. Not sure what happened there, but I'm not even going to speculate. So, I don't know. I don't know either side.
She's now seeing somebody else. That's for damn sure.
That's a long story. I'll tell after Mike. But there's a lot of people I've unsubscribed from for various reasons. That's one of them. Still like her, but yeah. Moving on. I didn't know about. I've only been to Taco Mac 4 times, and it was okay, but it was really expensive.
Yes. What was the thing I kept saying about it, AJ?
$9 beer night?
Where every night is $9 beer night, yes.
And the food was good, but if I can go to Saucer and get food that's 75% as good, and the beer has, specials, and I can drink for a cause, well, then that kind of wins out.
They also had a similar system in place, but the numberings thereof were pretty sporadic.
You didn't get anything.
You join and you get your T-shirt, and then I don't know, 20 beers in, get a coupon, and 70 beers in, you get a mug, and 200 beers in, you get what's what. But there was some sort of incentive program there too. The Tuckamuck Brewniversity is what they called it.
Mm-hmm.
I had a card. I couldn't tell you if that still exists, but that's completely defunct in my book now. Since if I'm going to be in Atlanta, I'm probably not going back to Tuckamuck.
No, there's
Like Hagen knows many of better spots to go to.
Yeah, like one of the many breweries.
Yep.
I'm sure. I don't know about Atlanta proper because we know all the ones that are outside.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as Atlanta proper, I'm not sure I could name one that has an Atlanta.
I think our favorite in the Decatur area, so east of Atlanta, sort of the Matthews of Atlanta for those not watching a map, was Three Taverns Brewery.
Three Taverns.
Which I'll end up as one tavern, but it's quite good.
What's in a name?
Yeah. No, you need to have your ear chewed off about good beer. Just ask Gray about it. That's his favorite too.
I got you. Well, maybe we'll make a trip down there later this year.
Not trying the car again.
Well, I say we do an Atlanta beer
that was
crawl.
that was straight up like just take care of car and get back because all hell's breaking loose 2 months ago.
If I pay for hotel and you drive,
interesting.
Do I drive a hard bargain, sir?
Yeah.
Well,
hey, you could be instant backup pilot too.
That's true. Scofflaw Brewing's in Atlanta. I have heard of them. I didn't know they were in Atlanta, and they had a bit of a controversy several years ago. Somebody left a negative review, and the owner fucking lambasted the person who left the negative review. Like everybody who left a negative review was like getting. You just can't operate a business. You can't everybody's not going to like what you do and who you are, so you can't really go after everybody. So, New Realm, ABC, Atlanta Brewing Company. There's actually quite a few of these.
Yeah, Atlanta's littered with breweries, much like here.
True. It's funny that Atlanta and Charlotte have essentially the same population, but driving through Atlanta is like driving through Beijing. It's fucking a nightmare. Orpheus Brewing, Sabbath Brewing.
Yep. Yeah, I've had Orpheus at the beer festivals. I've got stickers from them. Couldn't tell you what I had for them. I think it was all barley wines, like heavy duty stuff.
Yeesh.
Like, probably not far off the things I brought.
There's Three Taverns. Orpheus might have actually came up this way. Not at brewery, but like at bottle shop or
stores,
something.
maybe.
I swear
not
I've seen
done any such fancy shopping lately.
They ought to have a Morpheus one that comes with sunglasses that suspiciously don't have any ear hooks on them. It just goes right on top of the bottle. I move on. Southern Beer Tours.
The special bridge glasses.
Yes. Monday Night Brewing.
Yep.
They ought to close on Monday just for
idea behind that one was that it was some friends that got together every Monday night to go brew.
Oh, what about to go drink?
Got
Probably
six more nights a week, dude.
There is Steady Hand Brewing, Second Self Beer Company.
Had that one.
I like that name. Monday Night Garage. What the fuck is that?
Knock off.
Golda Kombucha. You can keep that. Although I will say Lenny Boy stepped up their game. At least they're making other beers now instead of just predominantly kombucha because it's just not
their IPAs are good.
I like the Lenny Boy had a really good. I think when we played for the pool parties and shit like that a couple years ago, Lenny Boy would be the beer tent, and I think they had like a Scottish ale that they brewed one time. I think it was a Scottish ale. That was delicious. I was like, man, I told the salesman, I was like, you guys need to brew more of this shit. This is damn delicious. Sweetwater has one in Atlanta proper, but it's not really Atlanta based.
Sweetwater is.
It is?
Yeah.
What's in Athens?
Terrapin.
That's right. Oh, Jesus.
And they got bought out part or entirely by Miller.
Ugh,
that was a couple years ago with that bad news.
Yeah. There's Eventide Brewing. Never heard of that. And Wild Heaven Beer.
Yep. Michael likes that one.
New Realm. I don't think we said that one yet.
That one.
And that's the major players right there. So Charlotte actually might have them beat, but still good options. Scofflaw, it does have a 4.7 rating now. It did go kind of down because Court of Public Opinion once something bad happens, everybody jumps on it like vultures. But
Review bombing.
yeah, it's something like that.
That's why humans are a terrible species.
It's a failed species, if I'm honest.
What?
The best thing that could happen to the planet would be the annihilation of human beings.
It's trying. It really is trying.
The humans are trying. Oh no, George Carlin, the planet's going to be fine. Everybody wants to save the planet. The planet's fine. The people are fucked. Last but not least, Steve, something we need to try, and we need to try today. Spiceology releases a 6-pack of beer-infused spice blends. So they give you 6 reclosable cans filled with spices, but it's beer-related spices. We have cherry chipotle lager, honey mustard IPA, Imperial coffee stout, jalapeno lime pilsner, mesquite peppercorn lager, and hickory peach porter. Seasonings that go on various meats. We need that. That sounds delightful.
That's going to make for some killer chicken wings.
And it was $50, but it's
decent sized can.
Six of these filled with spices, which you'll probably never use all of.
The weight of that is going to be significant. There's a reason spice jars are so tiny.
Well, let's go through.
Powder adds up in a hurry.
Good wings, though, but I'm saying cherry chipotle would probably be a good pork chop. That'd be good on pork chops. Honey mustard IPA. Wings, fish.
Yeah.
Fuck yes. Imperial coffee stout.
Pork.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, I had a pork chop that was braised with coffee grounds years ago. Enjoyed it.
Ooh. What is braised again?
That's what they called it.
Well, I know what broiled is, but I'm not sure.
Making sure your oven's going to melt down, because that's what Kaylin did with a French onion soup, and it turned out fantastic.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, if only I had a wife that liked flavorful things. Just eat white rice and boiled chicken all the time.
I'll have enough things you could add to said soup, and it'd be fine.
That's also
Instead,
true.
we had it with steak that I grilled and spinach salad.
Interesting. What did you put in your spinach salad?
Cucumbers, cherry tomatoes, and tahini dressing.
Tahini dressing?
Yeah. Sesame seeds with lemon. It turns out fantastic.
I'm a fan.
It's almost like an unsweetened peanut buttery texture and flavor.
That sounds delightful.
And Food Lion carries the base of it. The tahini paste is the pressed sesame seeds for about $8. Well, Lidl has it beat by 2/3. They have it for $2.70, and to make it is really simple.
Interesting. I was sad I didn't know that simple syrup was as easy as it was to make.
It's simple for a reason.
Sugar, water, boil it, done. Had no idea. Now I know, and knowledge is power. Steve, that's all I had for beer news. Not a lot going on in the beer industry now. We've covered a lot of the pitfalls and ups and downs of that going on for COVID-19. So that's all I got for beer news. We need to delve into car stuff or music stuff. I say let's do cars first.
All right.
Is that what you were going for?
Yeah.
So we have two things. We have forever cars and cars that came out in 1964. Predominantly
the Ford Mustang.
The Ford Mustang.
We have 64 and a half.
Whatever. We have not done a mutually I was going to say mutually exclusive. Is that the right terminology? An exclusive. We have not done an exclusive episode on the Ford Mustang, I don't believe. So, Steve, 1964.5. And it was not a fastback, was it? It was
the notchback initially.
Did you like it?
Oh, it's a very handsome car.
I was indifferent. I kind of liked the fastback better, but it was totally an inoffensive design.
It was at the time it was a prettier body made of Ford Falcon parts.
That's right, it was. It's funny how
I think the V8 came a little bit later. So it started off just, I think, with the straight six, much like the Vet did a decade earlier.
Yes, it did. It's funny how cars that are known as muscle cars and performance cars now were really only designed for slow cruising and such.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, but
Or straight line performance.
For sure.
The Pontiac GTO being the progenitor of such thing. That muscle cars and pony cars are two different things.
Mm-hmm. And GTO will always win with Steve and me because stacked headlights.
Yep.
By the way, the stacked headlight XJs from the 80s, not a bad look either.
Oh, yeah. Was that only on the Wagoneers?
I'll get back to you on that.
Okay.
That
was also my favorite Suburban style from the mid-'80s.
Oh, fuck. I forgot the Suburban had the stack. What other cars had stacked headlights? Technically, not the Diablo. You know what I'm talking about.
The V16 thing?
Mm-hmm. Was that a Vector?
Civetta, something like that. I saw a documentary about some guys trying to rebuild one, and that was...
It wasn't Tavares, was it?
No, this was Specialty Crew.
I think they're going to do another car track, though. They're going to do... Yeah, they liked it so much that...
Cizeta CIZETA V16.
Was it the purple one? Is that the picture you have pulled up, or is it a different color?
Red. But yeah,
Red.
It totally looks like a Diablo because it's this thing.
How many headlights do you want on the front of your car? Yes. It'd be funny if they were all 300ZX headlights on that too.
Oddly enough, with that design, it'll be the older version of it though.
Or all pop-up. 4 pop-up headlights.
Or just be a hood full of pop-up headlights.
Yes. Be a gambler car. Or no, some of them pop up like this, and then the other 2 pop out or pop over like the
Opel GT. Nice. Have to use a lever.
That is still one of the sexiest cars. I do a resto mod on
tiny
Opel.
The tiny C3.
Dude, how cool would that be to get an Opel GT and have like a do a 2.2 S2000 swap engine in it?
Mm-hmm.
That would be boss.
I like it.
Yes. Mustang is only the 5th best-selling Ford car nameplate.
Behind the F-150,
obviously,
and the Taurus.
You think Taurus outsold the Mustang?
Yes. Rental fleets weren't flocking to buy Mustangs in the 90s. That's how and why the Taurus was right up with the Accord and Camry throughout the 90s. Because rental fleets were buying them because they were cheaper.
That's true, but man, all the Mustangs you see, Jesus Christ!
And it kept outselling the Camaro probably today too. 4-1, which is why the Camaro is once again going to die.
Chevrolet doesn't. Chevrolet's so big, I don't really think they care about the Camaro that much. I mean, because they have the Corvette.
Have you seen the last one? It's obvious. They make the Lexus Hourglass grills look good. They make the Camry Predator look good. They make the 4th gen Prius still look terrible.
I didn't even like the Catfish era Camaro that much, but then when the new Camaro came out, I'm like, let's go back to the Catfish Camaro because that actually looks better.
the bloated retromobile that the 05 Mustang did better.
Yeah, and even that hasn't aged greatly. Mark's is
I think
decent.
the second of those generations though.
Mark's got it's a little more sculpted. It looks a little more modern. That's a handsome car. But when it first came out, like I was at first I was like, it's not bad, and then it just
I was glad
well.
I was glad they didn't try to make it like super aerodynamic the way they did the Thunderbird. That
Playboy's car of the year. Ugh. That's horrible.
Stick to ladies, folks.
What has sold better than the Mustang? Oh, the Ford Focus has sold better than the Mustang.
See a lot of those.
That's incredible.
Is this just domestically or is this internationally?
Internationally.
Okay. Yeah, the Focus is huge points elsewhere.
Mm-hmm. I have it pulled up. This is internationally, and it's 6th.
Had a low rent one go through the day that had power front windows and cranks on the back doors. It was a stick shift. Like, this was about as bargain basement as they get.
If I'm building a bargain basement car, though, wouldn't it make... To hear me out before you make any judgments, wouldn't it make more sense to have the driver's door be roll up and the rest of them be power on your switch? Because you can reach that one.
And then all I have to do is take the Veloster instrument cluster and turn it upside down.
Yes.
Had one of those today, too.
Or you can just have every car be available in left and right-hand drive markets by just doing the McLaren model and just have it in the middle. Minus the 7 to 8 figure price tag. We'll leave that out. The Focus and the Fiesta have both outsold the Mustang. The Model T's on here, too. Of course it is. 16.5 million units in 20 years. If you're the only...
And then the Model A, yeah.
Escort, number 2. And then the F-Series truck's number 1.
I was very cruel in my youth that I kept calling the Fox Body Mustangs the Skort Stang because they looked like the Ford Escort of the late 80s.
It really did. But you know what's funny? The LX Mustang.
Know what you still see on the road, though?
Yep.
There was a Durango that somehow the brochure for a 94 Escort was in the glove box, and it made it to my department at the end of the line without having been removed.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Pulled out some sunglasses, pulled out some readers for somebody who's blind. Like, there's been some weird stuff going on through that.
You need to make a goodie basket of weird shit you found in cars and bring it on here, and we can review them.
Interesting.
That new segment.
Yeah, lots of stray dealership keychains. I need to raid the detailing waste bins for out-of-state license plates. Mm-hmm. So far, I've only gotten 2 Virginias, and no, they don't match. I almost acquired in Ohio, but it was trifolded.
Trifold wallets are useless.
Yep.
I had one, and every time you take your cash out,
yep,
just fucking horrible.
As well as that extra fold is going to break your spine.
That too. Colin has the fucking
90-year-old
year-old
thick
old
crazy
man
thing.
wallet.
Yeah, well, I'll show you this one, right?
Yep, seatbelt wallet.
Seatbelt wallet.
That's so cool.
This is how you replace the vinyl wood grain wallet if you find this thing for $5.
Top Gear top tip though: seatbelts have lifetime warranties, so you can take it. Your car. I could take my Jeep to a Jeep dealership and go, "I need new seatbelts," and they replace them.
Well, if I got to replace my Pontiac, Pontiac's been dead for 10 years.
How many parts on your car said Toyota on them, though?
The gas cap did.
Mm-hmm.
Everything engine bay did.
Mm-hmm. I think they counted on the new Supra how many BMW badges you could see without taking anything off. It was like 18.
Yeah, I was going to say they lost count at a few dozen.
Well, back to Mustang. The namesake of the pony car automobile segment, the Mustang was developed as a highly styled line of sport coupes and convertibles derived from existing model lines, initially distinguished by a long hood and short deck, which is proportionately the best-looking thing you could possibly do with a front-engine rear-wheel drive car. What is before we go into the history of it, what is your favorite generation of Mustang? Or maybe not generation. What is if you had to have and spend with your own money being no object,
what if it's not even a Mustang, but
Shelby
close?
Or a Celine?
The 67 Cougar.
Let's keep it. Has to be badged as a Mustang because I would actually agree with you.
The 1986 Mercury Capri Bubbleback. Yikes.
The Mustang 2. Woof.
So some of those actually look better than the Fox bodies. I really like the 94s, like Collins in their prime.
I did.
That's a really good looking car.
When it first came out, it absolutely was. Although I will say
they kind of age like milk, though.
If you're going to go that generation with them, I like them, but I don't like the taillights. I don't like the horizontal taillights.
Yeah.
I like the vertical taillights.
And then you had the wrong engine in it.
Yeah.
The 4.6 instead of the 5.0.
If I'm spending...
He was insistent to find a 5.0 back in... Oh, that was 20 years ago when he picked that car up.
Even though it wasn't really a 5-liter.
It was like 4.9.
Yeah, and...
Well, my 2.2-liter S2000 was a 2.1856529 or 63. It wasn't actually a 2.2, but...
I think both of my 1.8s have been like...
1.7924.5 tuna.
Whatever.
If it's my money, I go white, of course, 03 Cobra, Terminator. Independent rear suspension, and supercharger.
And
390 horse.
You get your own Sepultura. No, Seven Dust song in the process, too.
Mm-hmm. 390 horse, 390 torque. I rode in a 550 horsepower Terminator Cobra. It is bonkers how quick that fucking car is. It's scary.
So I like the bullets, either the original one from '68 or the tributes. That somehow that's still a thing. When that movie really doesn't age well. Like it's a bunch of slow cop drama and then car chase. Much like Gone in 60 Seconds, the original from '74.
Yep.
The first half is unwatchable. The second half is all the crazy car chase with the yellow, new at the time, Boss Mustang. And then the Nick Cage remake is far more entertaining.
It is.
And the Eleanor in that is...
gorgeous.
Did you hear the Craig Lederman episode recently on TST?
I did.
How that resto mod is very of the era. That those 18-inch wheels look like casters now.
Yep.
It's like, well, way to burst that bubble.
Well, I'll get into NSXs later, but like sometimes putting the bigger wheels on the car doesn't look as good. A lot of times it does, and then other times if you go square stance instead of the double staggered, it looks weird because the front of the car is so much smaller that if you put the same size wheel on the front and back, it looks
if it's a DeLorean or an NSX, it totally works because it's pretty well wedge-shaped. But for anything boxier, that's going to look disproportionate.
Especially, it works better with mid-engine cars, double staggered.
Yeah.
You can't double stagger most front-wheel drive, or front-engine cars.
Front-wheel
drive. 19's in the front, 17's in the back.
Yikes. It's just penny farthing it.
I love a penny. I told Emily I wanted one. She goes, "What's that?" And I showed her the video of the guy dressed like in a dandy suit going through a college campus. She goes, "Why would you want that?" I'm like, "Why wouldn't you want that?" She goes, "You're so weird." Originally predicted to sell 100,000 copies of the Mustang. The 65 Mustang sold 400,000 units its first year. It quadrupled up. In 2018, the Ford Mustang sold its 10 millionth one, matching the first 65 Mustang. Interesting. That's very cool. I still don't want one, but you appreciate you like when we go to car shows or Cars and Coffee, you do appreciate them, but it's just like you see so many, it just you get numb to it. Like it's like Mustang fatigue, especially around here.
Yeah,
because your dad never had.
No,
Mustang.
My cousin had one of the original '60s ones. Else.
This was back in Greensboro?
Probably no. This would be in not quite Columbia, South Carolina. My cousin Andy had one. I guess in the late '80s, since he was probably early in his driving career. They had a red one for a while. It was a red hardtop. And Uncle Dave still has a '27 Chevrolet.
What?
Yeah. This is in Sumter, South Carolina, about 45 minutes outside of Columbia.
Is this running and driving?
I've never seen it move under its own power, but rumor has it still does at 93 years old, as are his belief system, but that's not here nor there. That would also be when the part of the family with whom I might have been in Charleston this week had not all hell broken loose. Instead, they wound up going to Isle of Palms last week, and that was too short a notice and too short of money to go do a thing. That said, Kalen's unemployment was approved, so
cool.
We'll be struggling a little less now.
That's fantastic, actually. What about the rent? Is there any rent freezes through the company, or?
Haven't inquired about that. It's not been that dire yet.
That's good. It's so weird. I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, you were looking for a job, and she had steady employment, and now it's like,
yeah, flip-flopped. And my secondary job is still mostly kibosh. Like, there have been a couple of private events on Saturdays. I haven't been able to do it because I had to work those days.
Yeah.
Like, work that, and then more valet stuff. Like, that has been super dead. Like, how the hell did I do that for 4 years?
Because you have to do what you have to do sometimes, Steve.
And I still got to do what I got to do, but now there's nothing I can do, but still need to do what I got to do before finding more gainful employment. And Eh,
Well,
but the Black Sabbath song "Killing Yourself to Live" is so apt.
I'm making decent money, but physically killing myself, and now emotionally killing myself. So I'm not sure what's better or what's worse at this point. I'm going to be out of booze pretty soon. You want to do that? Do you want to do one of yours, or you want to do that Cigar City one I brought last time and we didn't get to?
Let's try the Knord.
I'm ready to get schnorred. So the first generation Mustang went until 1973. So the first generation Mustang was 65 to 73. Started out with a very modest 2.8 liter straight six that made a whopping. Oh, Steve, you want to take a guess on how many horsepower?
Hundo.
120. An upgrade to the V8 engine from 260 to a 289, which a 289 is a 4.6 liter V8. I only know that because a 302 is a 5.0. That's the only reason I know that.
Brought the wrong Casio to do the calculation, and that watch is a pain in the ass to operate.
So the second generation Mustang came out in 1974, and you know what? I didn't really like that one. And you know what? You don't really even see that many.
Nice Pinto.
Yeah. It's funny how that looks.
Or even crazier is the King Cobra one.
Horrible. Engines from the 74 include the venerable 2.3 liter inline four from the said Pinto, and the 2.8 liter Cologne V6 from the Mercury Capri. 75 model year introduced the 302, the 5 liter Windsor V8, only available with a C4 automatic transmission, power brakes, and power steering. Decadent capitalist pig. The 5.0 was
automatic only 302.
Yep.
Go fuck yourself, Henry Ford.
Other transmissions were the, funny enough, named Rad 4-speed with unique gearing for all three engines, and the C3 automatic behind the 2.3 and the 2.8. The 5-liter designation was not applied until the 78 King Cobra, like you said. All 302-equipped Mustang 2s, except the King Cobra, received an updated version of the classic Ford V8 emblem on each front fender. I don't remember the last time I saw a second-generation Mustang.
I did probably the third to last time I went through a fast food line.
Really?
And it was actually in really good shape.
Which fast food place?
It didn't explode. I did a thing right.
Very nice. Well, before we get into...
something old job, I'd guess the Wendy's on Sunset.
Yeah.
So, oddly enough, not the best side of town for not the best car, but hey. It might have been the North Lake Wendy's instead.
Interesting. I can't.
Either way, gonna get shot.
There's a Wendy's.
Wait, good thing I'm not working out Beatty's Ford after yesterday's news.
Maximum woof. I can't remember last time I went to Wendy's, and there's a Wendy's right here in front of my house, and one in my parking lot at work.
They still don't suck. Just be sure who your franchisee is.
I get spicy chicken with only mayonnaise and side of chili, and I pour the chili on top of the sandwich, and I put Tabasco on it because I am a secret fat kid. And after you pour that one, Steve, tell the people before we get into, while you're pouring that, second generation Mustang, there's a reason you never see those because they only ran from 1974 to 1978, a 4-year model run. And then we will get into the third generation on the Fox chassis.
Still going today.
Basically. So, Steve, if you can correctly pronounce that, I don't know, Karin might be able to.
La Blondie de Chinord. French Pale Ale Ancient Brewing Style, ABV 7.2.
What accent is that?
Southern France. There is nothing for this thing to say. It's La Blonde de Chinord. Brought to you by Riverside Imports of Brooklyn, New York. And it is bottled by Brasserie de Saint-Omer of Saint-Omer, France. So it is, in fact, a French beer, weighing in at 14 proof. So let's go try this.
That's a high pale ale.
Courtesy of the other German grocery store, Lidl.
That's good.
I'm glad I have another one at home.
How much was that?
$5.
That's a good... Well, pale ales don't usually come in at a whopping 7.2% either.
Uh-huh.
That's dope. I like that.
Those ancients should keep doing what they're doing.
I feel confident in telling you, Steve, I am happy with your choice.
Thank you. It was just kind of on a whim. Like, I should pick something up for the podcast. Well, here's this stuff they keep carrying, and I've never tried it. I should do that.
When you rolled up and you took that out of the bottle, like I only saw that or bag.
The
I saw
bag.
that much of it,
Yeah.
and I immediately thought, "Ooh, Tall Boy Wells banana bread." That's what it looked like. But it's the same shade of yellow too. But that's delightful. And I still haven't been in a Lidl yet.
Go. They're out of shame as entertaining as Aldi's.
There is not.
The beef pricing is rarely good there, though. Except for the other day when
Is
I
it well
picked up
done?
overpriced. Except for picking up the stuff that was like marked for like sale by next day. So I picked up $9 steaks for $1.50. Whatever the hell a top round thingamahoo's it was.
Yeah,
It
top
was-
round's a different cut.
Yeah, and that said, I need to do something with those. Whoops.
Well, you know what? I'll eat an aged steak, whereas I will not eat an aged chicken. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Steaks typically age better.
don't they though? Third generation Mustang.
Much like you could have an undercooked steak and survive. Chicken's a different story.
OP eats medium rare chicken.
That was the worst episode of the Andy Griffith Show.
Yeesh. Third generation Mustang ran for 14 years. First one the second one goes for 4. The next one goes for 14. 79 to 1993, and
Have
it
you
was
ever
called the Fox chassis.
Have you ever seen one of those hit in the front?
No.
Don't. It's
Oh.
brutal.
Grenade.
Wrong model. Just like if you wind up T-boning the front end of it, like it will just obliterate the engine, and like all you have left is the firewall.
It's
delicate.
A girl I went to school with, her brother had a Saturn SC1 coupe, and much the same thing. Had a rear-ended somebody, and he had burns on his leg from the engine coming through the dashboard.
Interesting, because they kept billing those as being safe cars with a steel structure beneath that plastic skin.
He hit it pretty hard. I really guess it matters at that point, but it's pretty bad. So it had the drivetrains from the former generation came into the new one, 2.3 liter inline 4, and then we had a 2.8 liter V6 and a 5 liter V8. That generation also brought us the very cool and very rad SVO.
What, 84 to 86?
I believe so.
The proto EcoBoost.
Yes.
Which kind of got kiboshed in a hurry because with a little bit of modification, that could outrun the beloved V8.
Yeah, because the V8 had all the extra shit on it, and
It's heavy.
yet the LX V8 was faster than the GT V8 because it was lighter. So if you got the LX, it was
Or
a
the
lot.
one to get was the SHP. That's the one that Farah did, because that was the State Highway Patrol one that was very no frills.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he put a lot of money into that
Yep.
thing and then sold it.
Donated half, and Pearl broke even on the car, though, to have the experience of trying to unship box a shipbox. Well, that was not achieved, but fun was had, and then he moved on.
79 Mustang GT had
Good old Four Eyes.
Yes, had a 5 liter V8, but it was suspended shortly thereafter and replaced with the smaller 4.2 liter V8, which was dropped in favor of the high output 5 liter V8 for 82. So from 80 and 81 GT, you got a 4.2 liter V8. What in the Audi is going on here? Did I beat you to that? Could you
At
imagine?
least it wasn't a 2.7.
Yee. Well, 2.7.
The
You had a car that had a 2.7 in it.
The 2.8 was the VR. Oh yeah, the truck had the
truck.
2.7.
Yeah.
The second Volkswagen had 2.8.
Mm-hmm. Here, have some more, Steve.
Yay, more Steve.
Have some more Steve. Now in pourable form.
Interesting.
What? 82 marked the return of the GT, replacing the Cobra, which was specifically modified output 5-liter V8. 83 marked the return of the convertible after a 9-year absence. So they didn't have a second-gen convertible. It was only hardtop. That's interesting, because I thought you could get the convertible all the time.
If ever you've seen a Mustang 2 convertible, it would have been a custom job.
And
They did
ugly.
have... I think they did have T-tops during that, though. Much like the Fox bodies did.
Tito's like, not shaving it all the way, just leaving a little bit to find in the dark.
Landing strip.
Yes, SVO 84 had unique bodywork. Obviously, Mustang celebrated its 20th anniversary with a special GT350 with white with a red interior and red lower body side rocker stripes. You know what? I'm kind of taking the SVO over all that generation, though. I think just for rarity's sake, I would take that.
That would be a very bizarre Conquest tribute.
Conquest? My Conquest?
Yes.
Yes. So you still see Fox bodies every now and then, but probably I think now you probably see more of the first of the redesign, like 06, 05, 06. I can't remember last time I saw a clean Fox body anything, Fox chassis anything.
When I went to go spend too much money on getting a spare key made for the car, there was a sweet-looking Fox body next door to Eastway Lock and Key. So that probably means the guy at the tattoo shop next door, that would be his car.
Probably.
Or his regular customer's car. Like, I think I saw that both times I was there.
Was it LX or GT?
I think there's so much been done to it, I couldn't tell.
Oh.
But like anything of that vintage, like, no, it was a 2.3 non-turbo. It was the Escort spec Mustang.
Well, a friend of mine in high school, he had a S10 with a 4.3 with a stick. And
I really enjoyed my granddad's old truck. It was an automatic 4.3, but that thing would fly.
That was a good engine. But Ford, had the 5.0 emblems on the side. Well, Ford also in the Fast Mustang catalog, because my buddy Josh Hagler would get the Fast Fords. You could buy a 4.6 badge or a 2.3 badge for the SVO. So what me and my buddy Matt, who had the S10, were going to do, since I had the Conquest, was buy 2 sets of the 4.6 and the 2.3, because he had a 4.3 and I had a 2.6, and we're just going to switch them.
Nice.
I was like, well, I can't stick that on my Conquest, though. It's just too clean. I like my cars
I can't say
clean.
it was too chrome for your liking.
That, too. And Plasti Dip had not yet been invented, so I'd have had to paint it.
Yeah.
But you don't see Plasti Dip as much as you used to. That was very much a here today, gone tomorrow thing.
Keep hearing about people having done so. Like that setup picked up actual bronze or copper spray paint for the wheels, because it was carried at the disavowed home improvement store because I had a gift card.
Fuck
so
yes.
It was free spray paint.
Wait, which one's disavowed?
The Depot.
What happened?
Their supporters barking up the wrong tree. Therefore, Lowe's retaliated by donating thrice as much to support black-owned businesses. I
did not know that, and I'm glad you said. Well, I always go to Lowe's anyway.
The let's say the orange store remained orange.
Yeesh. Well, I grew up going to Lowe's because there was a Lowe's in my home county. So
my dad worked for Lowe's in Wilkesboro before they moved to Mooresville.
No way.
Yeah,
that
was like
a long time ago.
Late 70s computing career then.
Wow, computer the size of this room.
Yeah, probably.
Enthusiasts wrote to Ford objecting to a proposed change to a front-wheel drive Japanese-designed Mustang without a V8 option because what was supposed to take the place?
The Probe, the awesomest, worst name ever for a car.
Any name would have been better almost than that. Because it was. What do you like better, first gen or second gen Probe?
I'll give you one guess.
You like the second one.
Because I have eyeballs, yes. You could get a Turbo 4 in the first gen.
True.
But the second gen shared platform with the MX-5. Well, I think both times with the MX-6. But the later gens of both of those looked way better. I really liked that MX-6 when it came out.
Oh, yeah. So, my junior year, we had a senior transfer from Anson High School. His name was Rodrell. He is now dead. I don't know how he died, but he's dead now. I digress.
I think that's what happens when you're just from Anson County. That's just an icky place to drive through going to the beach.
Isn't it, though? Anyway, he was a nice guy. He was pretty chatty, but he was a nice guy. He is now deceased. Rest in peace, Rodrell. But he had a V6 Red Probe.
Whereabouts unknown.
Yeah. He had a red Probe GT. And
second gen?
Second gen. And he liked it. And he always said it was the fastest car he'd ever owned. And he could beat any car in the parking lot in a race. And I went, I don't think you can beat mine. And he goes, I bet you I can. Which one's yours? And we went out to the parking lot after basketball practice one night. It's like, that one. He said, the white one? I'm like, yeah. And he goes, what engine you got? I said, just a 4-cylinder. He goes, I could beat you. So he gets he takes off, and he's giving it all it had because it's fucking sawed off muffler and all that shit. And I'm just right on his ass the whole time, and he just can't leave me. And so I pass him, and then I give him the 1-2, and I take off, and he just can't keep up at all. What the fuck's done to that thing? And I pop the hood. He goes, you tell me that thing was turboed? You didn't ask. You did not ask.
Just a forklift engine.
And, that's not the best engine in the world, but, man, that thing was torquey.
There are worse ones out there.
It was so torquey. That thing...
It could have been worse. It could have been a G60 out of a first-gen Corrado. Or first-year Corrado.
Yeah, the Starions and Conquests of 87 were 188 horsepower and 234 pound-feet of torque. And when I dynoed... I had my dyno sheet downstairs when I had my Garrett turbo and exhaust. It was 245 horsepower and 313 torque. That was a very torquey engine. And then I go from that to an S2000, which is completely the opposite thing.
How was a turbo lag on that car in any of its forms?
Bone stock, it was... All right, so I ran 15 PSI on the stock turbo, which was basically just hot air at that point. It would go 7, 10, 15. When I ran 20 pounds of boost, it would go 7, 10, 15, 20. It would peg, it would get full boost around 3,200 RPMs. And when it did, you better be holding on. But I kind of like turbo lag. I know that sounds really stupid, but you get a sense of theater.
Now, everything has been so engineered to real neuter it.
It is boring. There's no sense of...
Yeah, no sense of occasion, but now a lot of the turbocharging efforts have been towards fuel economy out of, somehow getting more power and more economy out of modern engines versus just straight up raw power.
And it was so loud. Like the Garrett turbo, I mean, my buddy had an Integra Type R that he lived with Josh, and I on the interstate, I flew by him on purpose. We weren't racing or anything. And he goes, that turbo is so fucking loud. But they didn't deaden any sound or anything.
Yeah. Speaking of turbo engines, the surprise entertaining thing I discovered a few days ago, the Dodge Dart Rally with an E apparently has the same drivetrain as a Fiat 500 Abarth because they make the same noises.
I didn't know that, actually.
It was both the Fiat multi-air engine. It was like, this makes the same noise as that little firecracker.
And that thing sounds good.
Yeah. I was like, what's going on here? It was a stick dart that had that, like, what's happening here? It's like, I think it's the same engine.
Until you said something, I didn't even know it existed. So, color me surprised.
Yeah, me too. Like, I was telling my coworkers, like, that's cool. Go shoot the next one. Fine.
was funny growing up with Mustang friends because our buddy Jason Eford had the Bullet Mustang, the green one, '03 in high school. That's his only car. And we would ride around, and buddy Josh had an Autumn Orange GT.
And at the time, that was basically GT with less flair, right? It was still
no rear spoiler. Good looking car though.
Oh yeah,
yeah. But Josh and I raced one night when I had the Starry on, and I mean it was neck and neck. It was a 20 roll. We rolled to 60, and it was neck and neck. He's like, I had no idea that thing moved like that. I was like, I told you it was pretty quick.
You know, componentry's similar. Sure.
So he would do something to his car, I would do something to mine, and he would do something to his, and I would do something to mine. He had 430 gears put in his '02 or '03 GT. He had it tacked what a 4-cylinder would tack going down and he had an off-road X-Pipe. It was the loudest fucking car. He went 70 miles per hour, tacking like 2,900 RPMs in that V. It was just so fucking loud you couldn't hear yourself think.
Funny about Collins, it would tack like 1,500 at 70.
Mm-hmm.
It was like just like super relaxed at speed, so you could get 30 miles a gallon on the highway on that car.
C7 Vet tacks 1100, or Vipers tack 1100. I'm going 70, just idling.
Going from 6-speed 1800 to 6-speed 1800.
Yep.
70's still about $3,000. Maybe a little lower in the new car, but it's still frantic.
70 in the Jeep is right around 2,400, so that seems pretty normal. But it redlines at 5,200, so not really a high revving engine. Fourth generation Mustang ran 10 years, 1994 to 2004. Seems to be a theme here at this point. The Fox platform was the Fox 4. Base model came with a 3.8-liter pushrod V6 with 3.8 liters. Engine rated at 145 horsepower in 94 and 95, or bumped to 150 horsepower in 96 to 98. That is horrible. That is less than 50 horsepower per liter.
While valeting at Cajun Queen, there was a V6 Mustang of that vintage.
Ugh.
It had 300,000 miles on it. The car was certainly worse for wear, but it still ran fine. But yeah, the interior was defeated. I mean, how have you noticed that on like fairly modern Mustangs that the fake chrome trim around the everything is not built to last? There was one with 60,000 miles on it. It looked like you'd crinkled foil where the chrome bits, the fake chrome bits are. It's just, how do I annotate this? It's just fucked. It's just really bad.
Knowing what we know now, obviously, we can live in hindsight, but like the piano gloss black is going to age, and we're going to feel like that in 10 years, how we feel about the fake plastic chrome. Just make it flat black, man.
Yep.
It looks better. It looks more modern, because chrome is just not, unless you're having a hot rod build, chrome is cool. If your car's older than 1972, just leave the chrome off of it. Unless you're doing like a full like OEM build on something that's going to be worth like 7 figures, then we're not going to be doing that. Not this week. Maybe next week. Probably not.
I don't want additional mirrors on my car. No.
In 94, the modular 4.6-liter V8 that replaced the 5.0 was initially rated at a blistering 215 horsepower, or 160 kilowatts. Later bumped to a 225 in 1998. By modern standards, could you imagine if the new Mustang GT would have came out and goes, guys, it has 230 horsepower.
My Camry's got 300.
Yeah, Camrys and Accords have 300 now. It's so funny, but you know what? It's funny because they get better gas mileage now too, but they're also much heavier. So weird how technology has come so far.
Well, it's the additional safety. So the age-old quest of performance versus safety, and is there ever a middle ground? Apparently, eight airbags versus 140 horses in my car ain't it.
No.
But it's also getting 35 miles to the gallon. So I didn't tell the people about Pedal Commander, did I?
No.
I bought a piggyback ECU for the Scion, and it doesn't suck. It varies between Eco, City, Sport, and Sport Plus mode with 4 degrees of separation on either end, which means that shit's getting left in Sport Plus all the time. Eco makes it feel like a diesel Mercedes. It's terrifying, and to have that little power from the get-go has no net benefit in the course of a half-hour drive.
Having an eco button on that
is redundant because it's already an eco-tuned engine.
That's putting a hat on a hat. Like it's
yeah. So no, it's noticeably quicker at the throttle. Like it'll never be a sports car doing this, but it certainly made it more entertaining to drive.
Well, yeah, the throttle. I mean, you notice once you have a car
that
has,
it was super easy to install too.
Once you have a car that has good throttle response, you go, oh, okay, that's what they.
That's why all the rage is about the earlier vibes with the 2ZZ still cable actuated instead of the electronic ones 0506.
Mm-hmm.
That the cable was just there to pull the thing, then you can do it under hood.
Yep.
Back when I first saw my friend with the CRX do that back, he had an 86.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm surprised he didn't kill himself in that car.
If you hit anything, you certainly would.
Yeah. Instead, now he, about a year ago, moved to Oak Island and opened a restaurant. So
no shit.
Instead, he's getting killed there now.
Well, we can go visit because I haven't been to Oak Island in ever, so I wouldn't mind that. Oak Island's on the south side of the state.
Yeah, south of Wilmington.
Okay, well, I've been almost there.
Yeah.
I've been itching to go back to Wilmington. That's a cool town.
Yep.
There was the Cobra of the 90, or could you get the Cobra? Yep, Ford retired a 302 pushrod after 30 years, replacing it with the newer modular V6, or V8, rather, sorry. It's V6. What the fuck is wrong with me?
Ow.
The Cobra, or the 308, the V6 was increased to 193 horsepower in 2001, because 99, it got the more squared off body.
Which
Do you like?
I really didn't like that when it first came out. The more time it passes, the more I like it, but man, I hated those when they first came out.
I was like,
I can't even put my finger on it, but it's like I just didn't like it at the time. Now it's like it's been around long enough. I don't care. I mean, I still hate the Monte Carlos and Impalas of that era, but that's a different story.
I liked the Monte Carlo coupe then better than I liked the later one. I know
the 95 Monte Carlo instead of the 2000 Monte Carlo.
Yes,
the one with like the bloated everything.
Mm-hmm. I like the 95 Monte Carlo.
Yeah, that was a subdued looking car.
Mm-hmm.
And then later they changed it up so it looked like its previous self.
Yes.
And then got promptly killed.
The 2001 Bullitt Mustang and the 03 and 04 Mach 1 had 320 horsepower. And a friend of ours named Dusty had a Mach 1. Oh, no. One of them had a Mach 1. I was with the Mustang group, and I had a Starion, so I kind of stuck out a little bit. I also did spend a lot less on mine. And then the Cobra from 03 and 04 had 390 horsepower bone stock, and easily could hit 600 horsepower with a blower swap and an exhaust on it. So that would be the one I would buy.
Dude at work has a Challenger and is weighing the option of a $3,500 supercharger for his. Like versus what, 6? Yeah.
What was it, used supercharger?
I don't know.
It's gotta be.
How that's happening, and besides shooting cars, he also is building boat docks. Like that's a very niche thing to be doing, Harrison. Okay.
Harrison Keeler. What?
Yeah, pretty sure the other gringos with whom I'm working are in their southern 20s. Like one turned 21 this week.
Oh.
And thus far, I'd love to tell about it. He's got a brand new Corolla, unfortunately, it is the snub-nosed automatic sedan.
It's dead to me.
Yeah. I was like, oh, good, you got a new car. You have the wrong one, dude.
Wait, is at least it's like a 6-speed automatic?
It's a CVT.
Oh God, that's even worse.
Yeah, well, even the Scion IM had a CVT like back in 16. One came through today that had a leather interior in it.
I wonder what the first.
That's not normal, so I looked it up. Care to take a stab at how much a leather interior for my car costs?
Like the option, or how much it would cost to convert it?
It would be converted or to covered. This is really well done, whatever it was, but it was from Catskins, Katzkins. I had to look it up. I'm like, that's not a normal thing, but there's a tag on it from this.
Are we talking full interior with like door panels and or just seats?
I don't know if it's the door panels, but
just seats.
Just like all
1,500.
Lower.
900.
A little lower.
850.
800.
That's not terrible.
Yeah,
but I don't like leather seats.
Me neither. No, it was really baffling. Like, this car's leather in it. How do you that there have? And the driver's seat was defeated.
That's why I don't like leather.
Yeah, like it was definitely worse for wear.
How many?
It was a 66,000-mile car, so they must have put this in early. It was a September 15 build. Mine's a January 16 build.
Mm-hmm.
So they must have done it early to have the seats looking that bad already.
How many? This is your 11th car.
Yeah.
You have me beaten. I'm working on number 11 now, but how many cars have you had that have had leather seats?
One.
No way. Volvo?
No.
I got to guess this now. One of the VWs.
Yes.
The second VR666.
Yes.
How bad was the leather?
Didn't mind it.
Really?
It was.
Was it defeated?
It was this part of the car. No, the leather. It was a 4-year-old car at the time.
Okay.
It had 85,000 miles, but it had been well kept. It's just when it broke badly. But the seats were never an issue in that car.
1 out of 10. The 11. That's crazy.
Yeah. And the only issue with the seat I had was trying to take the La Cucaracha door buzzer out of it. It was like,
that sounds like
trying to take that stupid thing out is how I derailed the driver's seat. So I had to get that fixed, as well as whatever else went wrong badly, expensively, in a hurry.
What color
What
color was that one?
White with a black interior.
That's right. All right. Both Starions had leather interior.
Huh?
Cloth was the option, and cloth costed more because it was a velour.
They know what's up. Some sort of like vintage Race Across America my old boss had gone to, where they had a showcase of cars from like the 30s and 40s, and like one of which was like a V16 Cadillac from like 38.
Yep, I know what you're talking about. Sadly,
they had leather in the front but velour in the back. Because leather was not yet such a valuable thing at the time. But it's funny to have a double material interior.
Of course, that is kind of.
Never mind, you could have leather goods that last centuries if kept properly.
True, you do have to maintain it though.
Yeah, and nobody does. And if it's perforated, looking at you, Mazda, it's bucket, dude. Mazda 3 and 6 interiors with the leather. It's perfed, and it ages quite badly.
Yep.
It's ripped and torn and flaky, and it's just annotating that as get some seat covers.
The gathered leather of the NSX on the door panels doesn't age terribly well.
The what?
Gathered leather, where it looks wrinkled, but it's supposed to look like that. Explanation upon request.
Please.
Door panel.
Instead of, have you heard of bonded leather?
Yeah.
Where it's just leather scraps have been glued together, so it's impervious to everything because it's plastic by that point.
Yeah. But before I show you this, both Starions had leather interior. The TSX had leather, and the S2000 had leather seats.
Yeah,
That's it.
I was particularly amused that new old car had no such native option.
See what I mean? That's a very 90s thing. Where it has a wrinkle to it, and that's called gathered leather. But I like that.
You say gathered leather, I'm thinking like, did you make leather out of a squirrel? How does that work?
I demand squirrel leather interior. Well,
Those
we got our episode.
I demand squirrel leather interior. I like it.
But I actually don't know why I thought that, but I thought the Volvos would have had it.
They both had cloth because they were both low rent models. They didn't have sunroofs. The Gray 740 had heated seats, but they were cloth. The 240 in red, sadly an automatic, had an aftermarket 6-disc RF modulated CD changer
In the trunk?
Yeah,
Of
it was
course.
a piece of shit. It didn't work. And then we took it out and put it in the Blazer, and then A, it didn't work, and 2, got stolen.
Yeesh. I've only had one car with a changer. The TSX had a disc changer, but in dash.
The second bedeviled Volkswagen had a changer in it.
You know what though?
And my music tastes haven't changed much. I think it was a lot of like, grunge and just like Offspring playing it at the time.
Grunge, punk, and industrial.
Yeah, probably some Fear Factory in there.
I mean, that would be a great concept album, a grunge, punk, industrial album. I'm sad, but I want to play fast music played on machines.
Yes.
I guess we should get back to the Mustang a little bit. Maybe.
It's our show. We'll derail if we want to.
True. After that, you had the first Mustang that's off of the Fox chassis, the 05 Mustang, the one I don't like.
Is that the Ocelot?
Yeah, and it's just not good at all. But the base V6 was 210 horsepower, cast iron 4-liter V6, while the GT used an aluminum 4.6 3-valve engine that produced 300 horsepower and 300 torque.
That wasn't still the Ranger engine at the time, was it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, still the Ranger engine.
And that lasted until that truck lasted until 2012 before coming back with an aged platform.
And the new one I don't like. I like the old one better.
Yeah.
But because I am me, that's how that works. 2010 was released with a little bit of redesign, LED tail lights. The GT got 315 horsepower and 325 torque. And then everything got a little bit crazy because after a little while, the GT 500 came out with 550 horsepower. Then you had a 444 horsepower Boss 302. And you had I think 2013, the Mark's generation is the year that got bumped up to 400 horsepower.
I don't know what year his car is.
2013?
Okay, so it was right before the current generation, if that's the case.
Yes. Yep, there it is. The second quarter of 2012, Ford launched an update to the line of the 2013 models. The deck lid received a black cosmetic panel on all trim levels, and the GT's 5-liter V8 gained 8 horsepower from 412 to 420 horsepower. So now
420, man. At an 8 horsepower gain, like that's some like BRZ bumps right there.
Mm-hmm.
We got 5 more horsepower.
Yeah.
Whoop.
You'll probably notice that 5 in the BRZ more than you'd notice the 8 in the GT Mustang. You have the 6th generation Honda Accord Coupe. Ford Mustang GT. It's a good looking car. It's much more European, and for the first time ever, not just the Cobras, but all the GT Mustangs get
an Internal Revenue Service.
They did. And for those of you who don't get the joke, Steve means IRS is independent rear suspension.
Oh shit! I've still got 3 weeks to file my taxes. Whoops.
We filed ours already. And
I
here's
had a panic attack April 15th, so I called out of work. So that was fun. That was during the free day off giveaway too. So that was nice.
here's a fun fact too. This is the first Mustang that was available in right-hand drive.
Interesting. Could you get one of those stateside? Because I want to be a postal carrier, but I want to go fast.
I want to deliver everybody's mail before sunrise.
As much as you hate shooting brake, I want mine as a shooting brake to hold more shit.
A shooting brake right-hand drive Mustang.
Gimme. In brown and diesel.
SVO Turbo 4.
It's EcoBoost now, man.
Yeah. That sounds horrible, though.
Yeah,
SVO sounds better.
Not as bad as the lifted Fiesta. I mean, EcoSport.
Woof.
The only redeeming quality of that thing is instead of the door that lifts upward, it swings out.
Are you talking about the Mach E?
No. The Fiesta-based lifted Sport Ute thing.
I don't know.
Imagine a Chevy Trax, but worse.
I can't do that. I don't possess the capability to think of something worse than that.
Well, it is. And I'm still waiting on the Lincoln counterpart.
It's fucking with me that the computer you gave for CBG is in Pacific time. It says it's 3:43.
I don't believe I paid any attention to when the hell that thing is. I'm surprised it still runs after 11 years.
I'm happy with it.
It's old enough to still run a Windows 7 sticker. Never mind, it's currently running Windows 10 badly,
Fair.
but running it.
Fair. The
Bob.
base model V8 in the 5 liter gets 460 horsepower. The base GT. Okay. I don't know, man.
Well, unfortunately, for a while there, the Mustang GTs, the transmissions will eat themselves.
That's true.
That's not a good look.
No. Colin can tell us all about that.
That's also once you have 450,000 miles on the car,
That's
so
also
that's
true.
different. No, these are the much newer ones that fuck up with their fierceness.
We're done with we did a relative quick history of the Mustang. Arguably a car we're not super interested in, but still has some interesting points. And
Kaylin asked me, like, if you were to get a muscle car, what would it be? Like, that would be it.
Mustang?
Yeah, I like the way they look. They're small. Like, the Camaro you can't see out of. A Challenger's too big.
Well, it depends on what vintage. Because if you just get a muscle car, you could just get an older version of anything.
An AMC AMX.
That's technically a muscle car. Tubbed out Wagoneer with a Hellcat engine.
What was that Town and Country you had? Get that Hellcat swapped.
Fuck yeah. Hellcat swap everything.
Hellcat swapped Woody Chrysler Town and Country from 78 because it's Dodge Aspen base, which means it's made of rust, which means instant weight savings. Which is why a BMW 3.0 CSI is a good investment because it has automatic weight savings due to tin worm as well.
Yep. Do we do the tall boy can next?
Yes, we do.
I will get that. You got the last one.
Hooray!
So you would get a Mustang as a...
Yeah, if I had to get something of that ilk, yes.
Okay. I don't know what I would...
I mean, I would do something different, though. I'd have to get it in a color. None of this, no neutral stuff, like no white, silver, gray, or black. Sorry, Mark.
Well, look, I like
But hey,
white
this
cars.
is the imaginary car, so it's neon green.
I like white cars, but
Instead, my interior's half neon green now.
Steve, tell everybody what we're going to be drinking, because this is from the brewery that it's... Toy boat.
Weathered Ground Brewery in Niskillen from Cool Ridge, West Virginia. We'll be the judge of that.
I love that movie where the 4 black guys get in the bobsled. Cool Ridge. Is that right?
I played the shit out of soundtrack back in the day on tape.
Fuck yes.
We are Jamaican bobsled team. Enniskillen Dry Irish Stout, weighing in at 4.5 ABV. We never said Av on here. Hey, that's a word now, damn it.
One time, just now.
One time. A dry Irish stout named after WGB co-founder Tony Kelly's hometown in Canada, a town with deep Irish roots. Brewed to style. Easy, light, and roasty. Good for any occasion. Because it's 93 degrees out Fahrenheit.
Better than 90 Celsius.
Take a trip to the Great White North without leaving the comfort of your seat. I'll be the judge of that, and it ain't favorable. Anyway, who? You want to do the honor?
Steve, you do the pleasure. You eat that can, I'll give you my next week check.
I think biting a can open is incredibly poor taste for my dental health as well as the health of...
It's COVID, and you better can open on camera.
Why didn't Weird Al do a parody of Quiet Riots and do dental health? I guess there's still time.
Yeah. Well, Kevin DeBro's dead, so it's not like he's going to really give a shit.
Yeah, that's fair. That is a lot darker than I thought it was going to be.
It's a dry Irish stout.
It's
much
a
like
dry-rish.
the dry Irish. Get on my head.
Well,
I'm just spilling it all over the table too, so that's fine.
First ever West Virginia booze we've had on here.
That sounds right. All right.
Let's see how she do. Ooh.
Yep.
That'll do. Have we had anything on here we just hated? A couple things.
Yeah. Can't tell you what they were, but yes.
Well, do we do...
I'm not going back through... Now it's going to be an entire week's worth of playing to see, like, what was this? Yeah, it's like, today on the podcast, we're drinking rosé.
No way, brose. Do you have a forever car, Steve? A car, if you ever got, you would never get rid of. You would keep forever.
I wish I could say DeLorean, but I know that's an incredibly stupid idea because it is made of marshmallows.
It doesn't matter if it's a stupid idea, Steve. It's a car that if you could get in exactly the spec you wanted, which for a DeLorean is a DeLorean.
That said, an LS4 swap would be way more entertaining.
Yes, and more reliable.
Yeah.
And quite a bit faster than stock. Bone stock, they were anemic.
Garbage. Yeah, well, there was also the time. When at the time a Volkswagen GTI in its first iteration stateside could outrun a Camaro.
That was hilarious. I would like to go back to then and just feel how some of the muscle car guys felt about that. I mean, when you put a 200 horsepower 5-liter V8 in something, how fast do you think it's going to go? Like, you can only go but so fast in a choked out emissions. NSX for me is the forever car, but it'd have to be the right color and have to be the correct transmission. And really, the forever car for me would be a 97 NSX-T because you get the bigger engine with the 6-speed manual.
The 3.2 instead of a 3.0.
Yeah, but everybody said, performance-wise...
And none of these you keep stumbling upon are that young. It's always been, A, too good to be true, and 2, 91 and 96.
Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed, especially because you can do, for, I think, $800, you get the gear swap and do the NSXR Japanese gear swap because it redlines at 80, or you go 80 miles per hour in second gear, and it lowers it to 60, which
Those
is
are redeeming qualities of the second GTI.
Mm-hmm.
When the clutch went out, that it could do at least 70 in second.
Mm-hmm. Which is fun, but then I don't want to just shift one time and be having to go to jail. So you lower the gear ratios and you keep the final drive. So you still get the good fuel economy and the higher top speed, which I'll never see anyway. But wouldn't be opposed to a 5-speed NSX because
your sports car's gonna be good on gas because you never drive it.
True. I wouldn't be opposed to the 5-speed ones because evidently they're still very capable and very fun.
that's still more NSX than anybody has.
True. And now I'm kind of to the point where I wouldn't mind having a rebuilt titled one. And this is another topic I was thinking about having a conversation. Would having a rebuilt titled car bother you? Because I've had one.
You do what you got to do to find the car of your dreams, and if it has a bit of a checkered past, well, don't we too?
That we do.
Or clean title and the car itself is checkered. Oh wait, that's now.
Yeah, just because the car has a clean title doesn't mean it hasn't.
And that said, like, it's been running fine since then, so I think it's gonna be okay.
I think
I don't have the discard of this after 5 months or a year.
NSXs get totaled out very easily because the entire body structure is made of
aluminum, which is difficult and expensive to repair and replace.
Yep, so they got totaled out for fender benders that normal cars would not have. They probably, if the S2000 would have been made of aluminum, it would have been totaled. So I'm not opposed, especially for a car that I think is a forever car to me, because there are faster cars. I could just go to the Ford dealership now and get a brand new Mustang GT that has way more horsepower than that NSX ever will. Probably gets better gas mileage too. But I don't care, because when I roll up in an NSX, I know nobody else has one. I don't care how fast he can go. That matters nothing to me.
So when you go into Provolone to go check this car out, what do you mean that's not a thing?
I'm not gonna. The black one with the salvage top.
That was such a messed up thing. The hacked website.
Yeah, and the guy getting back to. I didn't even respond.
Yeah.
But the black one in Houston, the guy still has not got back to me. I sent another message because it has a rebuilt title from 8 years ago. But the car looks really nice. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, if I bought that car, all right, so say he can't get rid of it because of the title. I go, I'll give you $28,000 for it right now. You want 33 for it? I'll give you 28 for it. And he says yes. I would take it straight to who fixed my S2000, and I'll go, can you put this on your machine and see how well it was repaired for me? Do a PPI.
What do you mean the right side is an inch shorter than the left side?
Because if it drives straight and true.
Tack me on an extra Pepsi can, and we'll call it even.
Because if he gets back and says, hey, it was all cosmetic, like, there's no damage to the unibody, don't fucking care.
Yeah.
If it's a forever car, if I want to keep the car forever, I'm not really going to care about the resale value of the title being dinged anyway. Now, if I'm buying it for an investment, which, here's a CBG pod top tip for you: don't buy a car as an investment unless the car is a rare car.
Yeah. Nothing I've had has been a rare car, not even the GTIs, and I've never bought anything for resale value.
No.
Particularly the Camry and the Vibe, like some of my favorites I've had, but those were meant to be driven into the ground and were so. And that's probably the fate of Tiny Red out on the sidewalk right now. This thing's going to see a very hard at least 5 years.
You're not that hard on cars, though.
It's not like I've driven to the point that they've broken.
Yeah.
It's just the steady deterioration thereof.
You used them.
Yes, they are very used. Yeah. And the Vibe was certainly worse for wear after it.
True, but
it was also one of the oldest cars I've ever picked up at the time.
Well, mid-2000s cars of any variety weren't made to last.
Yeah. Mechanically, it was pretty solid except for its oil consumption and therefore the deteriorating emission system. The unrecallable recall was completely out of my hands. Thanks for nothing, Ben Minat and Liberty, but what can you do?
I would argue.
It's not like I would drive more carefully if Kaylin's in the car, but she refused to ride it because of that.
I would argue right now there are more cars titled in the United States that are running and working that are from 1990 to 99 than there are from 2001 to 2009. I don't know. For some reason, like the mid two.
Is this going to be our Dishwalla cover, counting old cars?
Should be. I would, other than S2000s and like the Hondas, is like it just seemed like General Motors was even worse in the 2000s than it was in the 90s because they would creak and rattle in the 90s, but at least the plastics held up okay. Like you don't see crack dashed Mustang GT. The seats will be garbage, but like it just seemed like the cars were built to last more then, and then they were more appliance built in the 2000s, whereas it's getting a little bit better now too. I'm so full of shit. I have no basis for my opinion.
The biggest example of generational change from A to B was the E30 to E36 BMWs, because that was the beginning of the eco-friendly plastics and adhesives, which means that if left in the sun too long,
yikes,
the wiring goes bad, the panels fall off, like things meant for better compostability later on start to while the car is still in service.
Eek. Have you seen what the 2021 BMW M4 looks like?
Nosferatu. Funny you mention that because I wanted to bring that up. How terrible. Get that front plate off. We got to see the entire naked mole rat in its glory. It's so bad.
Oh, you mean that?
It's an homage to the 507.
Now it's a Mustang GT. Now it's a mole rat. That's awful.
It's properly fucked.
And the thing is, I'm not a big Kraut car guy. But
they really dropped the ball on that thing.
I like the BMW kidney bean grill.
Yeah.
When it's a kidney bean size and not a Jack and the Beanstalk fucking... why would you do that? Does it need that much cooling?
No.
No.
The
Veyron has 6 times the amount of power, and it doesn't have shit like that on the front. So if it doesn't need it...
Well, the running gag with the giant grills on cars nowadays is that radiator's occupying not half of that space.
No, because radiators aren't as big as they used to be. Hell, in my Accord, it was maybe that thick and that big. Like it. Now the Jeep's radiators.
I think mine's about that thick.
Really? So it's tiny.
Tiny.
Okay.
Well, it doesn't have a lot to work with, so it doesn't matter.
Well, how big? Like dimensionally, how? If you had a guess, or if you even have a guess, because the Jeep's radiator is actually pretty wide, but it's pretty short. It's like maybe that tall.
I figure I would say 2x1 sounds tiny, but it's not big.
Yeah, my Civic had a tiny one. That was like a 1x1. It was
as much as you hate RCR. That was one of his comments, which is why I could bounce right back to him. Like noticing how tiny the radiator is for that car.
Maybe I'll change my mind, like I did on Doug. But I don't like the pseudo fake voice. Like when he's on the podcast, he doesn't sound like that.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. I also don't like the musical aspect of it because
the bad fake covers of everything. It's like it's like Roman's trying to do his own Weird Al thing. It doesn't work, but he's trying.
He is trying.
He's having fun with it, though.
Yeah, well, we are too. I'm sure we annoy some people, but fuck them.
Who out of our precious few dozen listeners are we annoying here? Raise your hands now, because we're not paying attention.
We have a lot of downloads now, though, compared to... Hey, man, it takes time. It takes time. So your DeLorean is your forever car. If you got one clean and knew you could keep it forever somewhere...
That would still be a strong contender.
Okay. Now, I think NSX would be mine.
Mm-hmm.
And to piggyback on that, would a salvage title DeLorean, or not salvage? All right, so difference. If you don't know, salvage title is one that's not able to be legally driven on the roads, And a rebuilt title is a car that was deemed a total loss and it had a salvage title, but then got rebuilt and inspected and was given a rebuilt title and is legal to drive on the roads. Did you know that?
No.
No, you do. A salvage, you can't register a salvage title car to drive on the roads. You have to get a rebuilt title for it. So a salvage title car might have been repaired, but it hasn't been inspected yet and deemed rebuilt. So if you see a car that says salvage title, if you buy it, you can't register it until it's rebuilt title. You buy a rebuilt title car, it was a car that was in an accident, a flood, or something.
For what it's worth, I am pretty sure I was using those phrases interchangeably.
Mm-hmm. Whereas most people do, and until I actually looked at it, I didn't know either.
That, until further notice, a salvage title is parts car.
Mm-hmm.
Less it be inspected and recertified or run through Florida, whatever.
If you're buying it for an investment, of course you don't want the branded title.
The smirch is the everything.
Yeah. But if you're going to buy it to drive it and modify it and enjoy it, and you're going to keep it a long time, and it was repaired professionally, I don't really see a problem with it.
Yeah.
Like you said, everybody has a checkered past. One problem is some insurance companies will not give full coverage on a rebuilt titled car. They will only do liability, which is fair because if you get into an accident in a car that's been repaired, how do they know which damage?
Know who did what
Exactly.
to which panel and how.
Yep.
Yikes.
That's why it's tricky sometimes. I've already looked into it.
Is that why Haggerty's so expensive?
Yep. Nationwide will insure rebuilt titled cars with liability only, but you can't get a full coverage. And that's absolutely, this is one time I'm going to side with insurance companies. Completely understandable. Because you don't know what damage.
Well, the likes of Haggerty or any classic or collector car insurance, but that's a lot of can of worms, man.
Yep. And I'm glad I'm not in that business. And so is Emily. Coming home from she worked at Allstate, and she would come home in tears from that job. I was like, probably time to hit the old dusty trail on that one.
Yeah, my sister works in commercial insurance, so it's...
Ooh. Who did she make mad?
She's actually been with that company 10 years now.
No way.
After really hating quite a few jobs before that.
Interesting.
And her husband works with property adjustments and evaluations and rebuilds. So he's actually on the front lines of rebuilding shit. So all hell breaking loose in Greensboro has partly been his forte.
Well, Steve, I think we're good with the car stuff. Do you want to do some protest songs?
Yeah, you and me in Low Ohio.
What I have radioco.uk, the 50 greatest protest songs ever written. So I don't know if it's going to be, it's specific, not going to be specifically UK, but it's going to have a lot of good stuff on it, like Killing in the Name from Rage from 92.
Yeah, just what we told people last episode. Like, we're out of time, so there's that.
I didn't realize American Idiot was a protest song.
Don't want to do one, right? Right?
I don't, but are we by default? But I didn't know. The title track of Green Day's '04 album was originally written as a response to G.W. Bush and the war in Iraq. It came out after the September 11th attacks. Interesting. But interest in the song is a resurgence following the election of 45 and has begun to climb the charts in the UK in the run-up to the president's visit to the country in July of 2018. That's amazing. Naturally, to 1989's Fight the Power. And that was by...
Brothers with Attitude.
Nope.
Public Enemy?
Public Enemy. Yeah, I knew you was going to... It wouldn't take you very long. Did you find one to... investigate?
No, the towel's taking the dump. I'm going to protest against this by putting in a wood chipper.
Yeah. Radiohead, Idiotic, IDO. Idiot, and then EQUE.
Idiot Q.
Yeah. Tom York. Oh, it's climate change. Okay. Which people don't think is real, but you know, the Pixies, "Monkey Gone to Heaven." I've never heard that song. I'm not a big Pixies guy.
Me neither, but that's one of the better ones.
Oh, Imagine from John Lennon.
Match.
I really like that song. I like the lyrics. For multiple reasons. Maybe the anti-religion part of it, but and then Beatles Revolution. It's funny, we had Beatles. We were talking about the Beatles yesterday.
Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64?
Bob Dylan, "Hard Rain's Gonna Fall." Are you familiar with much of Bob Dylan's
No,
catalog?
that would be totally Caitlin's forte. I'm not a Dylan head. Like, I like The Hurricane, which is popping up on my Rolling Stone list here.
Oh. No Doubt, "Just a Girl."
With people trying to coddle too much to ladies being ladies, and like, no, everything's gonna be fine. We'll take care of it for you.
That's Weary reposts sexism and stereotyping. "I'm just a girl in the world, and that's all you'll let me be." Yep. Okay. That's.
Bob Dylan's "A Hurricane" on my Rolling Stone list. Bob Dylan was a decade past his protest song phase when he became aware of Reuben "Hurricane" Carter, a professional boxer in jail for a murder he claimed he didn't commit.
All right. I don't think I've actually heard it.
And this just
What's next on the beer list?
Making Room.
Be right back.
BRBs.
All right.
We got BRP.
All right. Well, think about what you want, because we have that little bottle, or we can split the Imperial milk porter. But we also still have Mexican food to eat too. So.
Si, senor.
So we were going to do protest songs in light of all this. Not in light. In that's Porsche.
Darkness.
Just listen
Tribute.
to the tribute. Protest songs in tribute to all the protests that have been going on all over the world. And got to be honest, I'm glad to see Black, white, Hispanic, Latina, Asian, every American, everybody coming together and just supporting each other instead of hate. We need to start embracing love, and we're all on the same team. We're all supposed to be on the same team, guys. And the sooner we realize that, the sooner we can grow as a species, because if we keep holding on to racism and hatred for people who don't look like us, then it's only going to be a matter of time before it's the downfall of society. It just is. It might not be in my lifetime or your children's lifetimes, but it's going to happen. And it's not going to be pretty, because all those race wars you see that have gone on over the years in other countries, it could totally happen here. And after talking with somebody who lived through the Yugoslav wars of the 1990s, when he says it could happen here easily, you don't believe him until you live through this and you go, you know what? That actually could happen here. And it's in its kindergarten stage right now, unfortunately. So just be good to each other, guys. Like, there just need to be less hate, more education, less hate. And then maybe we can move forward as a species. But until then, I got nothing. I know one thing. I need to go on vacation. I'm really, really tired of seeing the same shit over and over again. I know Steve is too. We go to the cabin up in Bryson City every November. That's coming up fairly soon, and don't know if they're going to make it or not, but I hope so. Steve, which one do you want? You want your short stubby bottle you brought, or you want that Imperial milk porter from Cigar City? The Imperial milk porter is the bottle at the bottom. There you go. Muzzle tough. Cheers, your face. That bathroom looks much better, that color, but now the studio's needs to be painted. And there's so many holes in here.
A lot of dung.
There's a lot going on in here. That'll be my next project. I'm going to have to paint the ceiling because the former light fixture made a hell of a mess around the ceiling fan. I hate painting ceilings.
All right, Michelangelo.
I think you're giving me a little too much credit. Steve, I was telling people they need to stop the hate and start the love. You agree with that?
For the most part, yes. But never for PRND.
Fuck no. All right, no. If you prefer an automatic transmission, you're just wrong. And then Steve will pour his and tell us what we're drinking. It's from Mrs. Brittany Cosby. Miss Brittany Cosby.
Mrs. She's her own woman.
Mm-hmm.
So we have here is the Cigar City Brewery Imperial Milk Porter. So what you got here is a high-gravity porter brewed with lactose. It tastes like finding a $20 bill in your coat pocket. In this weather, what coat? Complemented by notes of catching a foul ball of a baseball game. In this epidemic, what baseball game? Well, the finish is pure, that satisfying feeling of popping bubble wrap, because that's always timely. It's good.
I hope it's good, because it wasn't cheap. But it's from Florida.
ABV 8.3.
Cool. I'm hoping it's a good one, because it's straight from Florida. I've only been to Florida twice. Steve, how many times you been?
I'd say at least a dozen.
No way.
Yeah, my mom's parents moved there in 87, 88.
Yeah.
So was involved with many a long car trip down there to not quite Orlando until 93 when my granddad died on my 12th birthday.
That is... Well,
yeah, my 12th and 21st were bookended by grandfather's passings.
cheers to them, and that is amazing.
Yep. Thanks, Brett.
I don't think Cigar City does anything bad.
Yeah, my mom's father on my 12th and my dad's dad 2 days before my 21st. So if ever anybody's complaining they had a bad 21st birthday, I've got a worse story for you.
Really? Steve, we got Sex Pistols, God Save the Queen.
She ain't a human being. No future for you. No future for you. No future for me. You may not like that. What's the other one? Whatever. I happily get the Clash and Sex Pistols mixed up, but
I mean, angry
Brits from the late 70s, like right before Maggie Thatcher took the helm, and then it was an entirely different realm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Manic Street Preachers. If you tolerate this, your children will be next.
I have to tolerate their children next? Ew.
A group of Welsh miners traveled to Spain to join in the fight against General Francisco Franco's troops. The title was taken from a propaganda poster of the time. One line from the song is a genuine quote from the poster. If I can shoot rabbits, I can shoot fascists.
Nice.
Fuck yes.
I think the Spanish Bombs was one of the better Clash songs.
Haven't heard that one.
Well, you already don't like them, but that's catchy though.
Okay. Frankie Goes to Hollywood had another song, and it was a
Pardon?
It was a protest song. Two Tribes from 1984. It was an amazing video.
It's like a lot of these songs, like I hear, but I don't pay attention to the words or the meaning behind them, or look up the song meanings, lyrics. I've heard that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like
I love that's what I live for.
This is the latest. Like, forgive my ignorance, but there's a bunch of it.
One of my favorite lyrics to a song was from Wooden Jesus from Temple of the Dog. Wooden Jesus, where are you from? Canada, Korea or Canada, maybe Taiwan. I didn't know that was the Holy Land, but I've believed from the minute the check left my hand. I pray, can I be saved? Spend all my money on my future grave. Wooden Jesus, I'll cut you in on 20% of my future sin. And then the second verse, oh my God, it's so great. I hate to take a detour here, but...
no effects, the plan. I don't fuck with you, don't fuck with me.
In porcelain Mary, her majesty's pure, looking for virgin territory, coat hanger halos that don't come cheap from television shepherds and living room sheep. It's the best fucking lyrics ever. That one's a good one. But Frankie Goes to Hollywood, Two Tribes, coupled with an amazing video that featured lookalikes of Ronald Reagan and the Russian premier of Chernenko wrestling each other for supremacy. The song claims that in nuclear war, only one as you can score. Rolling Stones, we love you.
It sounds like the video to Atlantic Confusion.
Yeah.
With like the Raisinette puppets. Holy shit.
By the way, my mom said I was terrified of that video. Because Friday night videos used to come on. Be. It came on at 11 o'clock, and they would tape them. We have VHSs of Friday night videos, the show, from almost all the 80s. And watching the video, I used to watch the videos. That's how I got introduced to Queen.
If you need a VCR, let me know. I still have 2 of them.
That's not a real thing.
Oh, yes. They are. It gets weirder. Caitlin's mom,
yes,
had a box full of DVDs and 8 tracks.
Fuck yes.
That was the thing I posted the other day. It's like, yeah, no takers on this? Cool. I don't need more shit to take up space. Otherwise, to build a weird-ass collage of 8 tracks could be fun, but
yeah, I
don't need it. I'm already looking to divest maybe up to half my NES collection. But the more time passes, the more I realize I hate Mega Man games. Those are so fucking hard.
I
don't need the originals.
The last ones were okay. The first ones were fucking horrible.
Skip the first. 2's good, 3's good, and then shit gets weird. And then there's lots more of them. Then that's in 3D. I'm already bad enough at this in 2 dimensions. Let alone 3. Go fuck yourself, Capcom.
I thought about redoing the studio for that reason, because there's so much shit in here that I just thought about redoing it, but the plates are going to be gone. I'm going to take the plates down. There's just too many holes in the fucking walls.
Garage them.
I'm going to put them in the garage. As far as artwork goes, there's not that much. And then, the guitars in the middle right there in between the real guitars are all Christmas ornaments anyway. Yeah. So I can take those down. But I thought about getting that. I told you, the finished piece of wood that goes straight across, and stain it like a nice piece, and then bolt the guitar holders into that piece of wood for decoration. But I don't know. I thought about redoing it in here when I repaint it. And I'm thinking about doing a gray, a dark gray color.
Pegboard.
Pegboard the whole.
Just pegboard the whole thing. Then you don't have to punch holes in the wall because the wall's already made of holes.
Emily and I are into that sort of thing. Oh, pegboard. The Clash, Rock the Casbah. I didn't know that was a...
The sheriff doesn't like it.
True. Song morphed into a meditation on Arabic censorship of Western music. Fair. Hey.
The Cure's Killing an Arab.
Ooh.
I remember hearing about... I first heard about that song right after 9/11, and the DJ's like, I'm not playing that.
Nope.
And the album Three Imaginary Boys... I think they stripped that song from later releases of it. Never mind, that was an homage to Camus way earlier.
Of course.
Who died in FSL Vega. Speaking of Forever Cars.
Susanna?
No, FSL Vega.
Susanna Vega. Steve, fornicate the constabulary.
FTP? Yeah, you know me.
Yep. NWA's Fuck the Police in what year?
89.
88. They have the authority to kill a minority, yells an angry Ice Cube on this controversial polemic that was released in 1988. I mean, you think it's prevalent now? It was way prevalent then. Steve, you'll appreciate this. The Smiths, Panic from 1985.
Hang the DJ, hang the DJ, hang the DJ, hang the DJ. What's the story behind that, though? I really enjoyed that song, never mind whatever awful person Morrissey has become, but man, did he make some good music. That said, Johnny Marr, the guitarist from it, we're listening to his solo stuff, is fantastic. Anywho, what's the tale behind Panic?
On 26th of April, 1986, nuclear reactor number 4 at the Chernobyl power plant in Ukraine went into meltdown, bringing around huge disaster, blah, 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 blah. Morrissey was listening to the news bulletin announcing the event on Radio 1, which is immediately followed by a typically cheesy bit of 80s pop, which claimed the radio DJ said nothing to me about my life. Some commentators later claimed the song was racist as it attacked the growing DJ culture in the U.S., which was making its presence known in the UK, but it was more about Stephen Wright in the afternoon than Run DMC. So I have fucking no idea.
Stephen Wright.
That's
Leave him out of this.
Exactly. That's what it said.
What the W?
And then we have, obviously, U2's Sunday Bloody Sunday.
Natch.
Which is a great song, even though I don't like U2 that much.
Yeah, well, that song fucking rips.
It fucking does. Billy Bragg, Between the Wars.
1 to 2 or 2 to 3?
I don't know. Moving on. Bruce Hornsby, The Way It Is. That's just the way it is.
Things are never going to change?
I think that's the one.
Huh.
The Tupac version was good. I like that one.
Yeah.
That was a good song. I remember, like, I'm a 90s hip-hop guy anyway, so I remember when that one came out. I think it came out posthumously, too. Oh, wow. Hornsby ends by pondering over the American Civil Rights Act. Well, they passed the law in 1964 to give those who ain't got a little more, but it only goes so far. The Smiths, Meat is Murder. Can't imagine what that's about. And a lot of people don't realize that this is a protest song.
Dude, I gave Rachel King so much shit when she got her new car.
What did she get?
A Mazda 3.
That's right.
But with a leather interior.
Gross.
Like,
I never poured a beer like this, by the way.
Let's see what happens. Like, vegan, huh? You in what leather interior? I was like, it was part of the car. Like,
sorry.
Yeah, but.
Sorry. You chose it. I didn't even think about that.
It's like, it's like you should have got the hatchback, but I'm not a hatchback girl. So I responded, I am. And with this new car, I revisited that qualm.
How many hatchbacks have you had?
At least 4. 2 V-dubs, 2 Toyota-ish.
I've had 2.
And if I wanted to count the awful Blazer, the hatchback instead of a Sport Ute, 5.
I've had 2. The starry odds were technically hatchbacks.
No technical about it. I mean, it's like the more slanty liftback model, but
they were called I think they called them liftbacks because notchback was Mustang nomenclature. I think. I don't think there's a difference.
It's just a matter of like how much of your hatch is being hatched. I've never had one that's been clamshelled. Except for the 84 Blazer.
I've had more variety of vehicle. I've had every variety of vehicles except box truck or bus at this point. So, Steve, Born in the USA was a protest song, and a lot of people don't realize that Bruce Springsteen, and I'm not a big Boss fan, by the way, but that was not
that was after
Vietnam.
Vietnam veterans getting fucked something fiercely, which is what the first Rambo movie was also about. That you have this killing machine cutting loose, shit's gonna get rowdy.
Yeah. I think it was Reagan that got in trouble and got a cease and desist from Springsteen. Much like Tom Petty's estate now.
Yeah, you shan't back down.
Yeah, number 45. You've got to get permission before you use songs like that. You just do.
Could Childstone not make a new song for him?
Honestly, did I tell you what I was thinking about doing? Is getting Lev, Brian Baker, and playing Rage tunes at one of the protests. That would be so. We would open with Testify.
The most recent CHH session, because he's doing those again.
Yeah.
Was shit. The beer's working.
You feel good?
Okay.
You look good. You look fantastic. And I got to tell you, honestly, when we were doing them every week, I was so happy to do something, especially with you being one of my best friends I've ever had, somebody I love dearly. I was looking forward to it every week, and I know you're busy, but I would do this shit every fucking week if you wanted to. So now that we've gone back to bi-weekly, I'm like, oh. But I also don't have any music to play, so that also adds to my creative genes being stripped of me.
I can get killed all the time now.
Maybe we can do it at your house. We got Marvin Gaye, What's Going On in 71. That's a good one. I didn't realize it was from 71. I thought it was later than that, but Marvin Gaye died in, I guess, the late 70s, didn't he?
I'm not good at this.
I'm not good at this either. Let's see. Marvin Gaye.
That was a dealer from whom I bought the second Tacoma.
Marvin Gaye died on April 1st, 1984.
The year before Ian was born.
Who?
Colin's brother.
Ian. I thought you said M. I'm like, no, Emily was born in 86.
No, later.
Right.
I don't enunciate good. The booze is working.
Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. The Message. The Jungle Tides. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under.
Guerrilla Radio. Like, I listened to the fucking thing at lunch. It's like I don't remember the thing I listened to earlier.
Was that? I think it was on Battle of Los Angeles.
Yeah. That was a fun breakdown.
Midnight Oil.
They all are. Like, even the songs I don't like are fun. Listen to that.
Midnight Oil. Beds Are Burning. Australian band.
I think it's because Australian have wildfires.
The song was a plea to the Aussie government to allow the Aboriginal group, an Aboriginal group, to return to their homelands. Okay. The Special AKA, Free Nelson Mandela. There's going to be some obscure shit on here, so. Stiff Little Fingers. Alternative Ulster. Moving on.
I've heard of that, and I can't place it.
MIA, Paper Planes. And you know what? I don't hate that song.
You got the guns as percussion. It's catchy.
Maya Arulpragasam is the daughter of a Sri Lankan Tamil activist, Tamil. So she's well placed to appreciate the daily struggles of immigrants and refugees who hail from areas of conflict.
Is she a tigress?
Fly like paper, get high like planes. I actually like that.
I couldn't tell you any of the words of that. It was just like, all I remember was like,
everyone's a winner, making my fame. Bonafide hustler, making my name. Madness, Ghost Train. Don't know that. Or The Doors, Unknown Soldier. I figured you'd be familiar with The Doors, but...
Not that one.
REM's Drive from 1992.
I heard a breakdown of the entirety of Monster.
Mm-hmm.
That only made me really not enjoy it.
REM's Drive. Michael Stipe was a supporter of Democrat Michael Dukakis in the 88 presidential race and offered up the campaign slogan that claimed, "Don't get bushwhacked."
God damn it, Willie Horton.
Dukakis lost, of course, but the song's sentiment filtered into the opening track of the seminal Automatic for the People album. Metallica's One was a protest song.
It's a very World War I theme.
Mm-hmm. And that's a dark song. If you don't know what it's about, just hit the old Googlepedia. Muse's Psycho. I didn't know that was...
I'm not familiar with Muse. It's like, why are these?
Muse is great. You would like Muse. It's just weird enough for you, and it's just intricate enough for me. X-ray specs. Oh, bondage, up yours. X-ray specs is SPEX. Specs.
X-ray specifications.
You know, it's UK punk, so moving on.
The running gag is banned from LA is simply the letter X. Before SEO was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
How difficult that is to look up. Or
like,
the band the or the.
Or live.
Uh-huh.
Live. What?
I keep getting Tig Notaro instead. When she named hers Liv.
Liv Tyler, though.
Yes.
Pink Floyd, another brick in the wall. I didn't know it was a protest song. I mean...
Oh, no.
That's true. James Brown, Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud, 1968. Oh, that's a good one. I didn't remember that. John Lennon, You Have a Piece of Chance, which I've never heard the actual song, but I remembered it from the Wonder Years. Did you watch the Wonder Years?
Very little of it.
Did you enjoy it when you watched it?
I remember not hating it. The only connection I have to that right now is thinking, all right, Josh Radnor and Bob Saget sound nothing alike. Much like Daniel Stern and Fred Savage sound nothing alike.
That always bothered me. Like, why is the future Fred Savage? It never made any sense.
At least with Fred Savage being a kid then. To that's less a stretch instead of 20-something Josh Radnor and his hookups being narrated by Danny Tanner.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not like your voice changed at all.
No.
It's like you simply have this voice because you can.
Yes. It's funny to see Bob Saget on Full House. If you didn't know the comedy Bob Saget did,
he's the worst nerd ever.
Raunchy.
Yeah,
like
no. The goal is knowing that he is such a filthy comic.
Very.
And years ago, saw him at the Comedy Store.
How was it?
Yep.
Wait, Comedy Store or Comedy Zone? Comedy Store's in L.A.
Yeah.
I was like, when did you go to the Comedy Store?
Shit.
That's awesome.
Didn't because the booze is working. Yeah, Comedy Zone. Yeah. Delicious. Go see.
It's great.
Say
I've been
goodbye to
twice.
your ass.
Yeah.
I saw him there. Somebody else. Whatever.
I've been twice, and I'm intrigued. I was telling my buddy Ryan Davis, the comedian, from last Monday I met up with him when he was back in town.
And apparently Ink and Ivy's made of trash, but that's a later discussion.
Yeah. But I was telling him, I'm intrigued. I can tell a joke really well, but I'm not certain I could write one. And stand-up's always intrigued me. I've loved stand-up comedy as far back as I could remember, but it's always intrigued me, but I can tell a joke. I'm not sure I couldn't write one. like that many. I got too much shit going on, man. It's like, so he said, "You'd be surprised, man." I was like, I got enough shit going on. I don't know if I need to try anything else that I can be mediocre at. I have that weird thing where I'm like okay at a lot of different things, but not proficient at one. And I don't know if that's a good quality to have. It's not bad. I don't think it's great, though.
Something I said back in the day, to be a beacon of mediocrity.
Beaconocrity. Cranberries' Zombie is absolutely a protest song. You did know that, didn't you? It's the same old thing since 1916 with their tanks and their bombs and their bombs and their guns.
Us in World War One versus the
No,
Irish.
it's the
and
Irish.
dictators,
It's the Irish.
The Civil War.
Yes, the Irish Civil War. Another Mother's Heart Breaking is taking over, written in response to the IRA bombing of Warrington Town Center on 20th of March 1993. Killed 2 children. This an outraged howl against the violence that spawned from the Troubles in singer Dolores O'Riordan's hometown.
Yeah,
The band's manager
speaking
later...
of calling it the Troubles, is the complete and total downplaying of the everything that happened there is calling it the Troubles. Like, that sounds so quaint to call it that.
Yeah. The band's manager later claimed that Dolores ripped up a $1 million royalty check that was given to her, asking for a less politically charged song. Fantastic. And that's why she's the GOAT. It's unfortunate she's not here with us anymore.
That was early up there.
That one hurt. That one hurt a lot. That's all I got for the 50 greatest protest songs. But anything can be a protest song, if I'm honest.
My immediate thought was Neil Young's Ohio.
Not familiar with it, actually.
Kent State, 1970.
Oh, that shooting. That was one of the first major shootings.
Because the National Guard opened fire on protesters at Kent State University in 1970. My aunt's sister was there, and she's not all there now. Maybe wasn't. She birthed 3 kids. They're doing okay, but Donna's out there, man.
Yeah, when you had to go pay the water bill, I was musing to the viewers and listeners. I'm both happy that people are coming together and realizing that, guys, we're all on the same team. Let's at least pretend to act like it. I'm really happy for that. But I'm also very sad that there are still people that are stuck in their, let's be honest, backwards ways. And I'll go back to stuff I heard on Joe Rogan's podcast. Wouldn't the country be better if there were less losers? You had less homeless people, less people struggling. The country would overall be better if we were all prospering and helping each other out. There will still be super rich people, and there will still be people who are not making that much money. You and I are cut from the same cloth where I don't really care to be super rich. It'd be nice, but it's not something I strive for. Like,
I could happily be more comfortable to not have this constant paranoia of, if I break a limb, I'm out of commission, I'm out of work, I'm out of money.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm going to sink in a hurry. I'll get right back to where I was. Like, I'm caught up now.
Mm-hmm.
That's been a very tall order to achieve that. And that's really thin fucking ice. And it cost me some chunk of my sensible future to do so. Nothing else panning out. I got to do something to not spend $500 in interest a month to do that.
And that's
and
important.
we're at least a year away from buying a place. And hell, if I know if like if I could find a better paying job, if I could get a better paying job where I am, whenever Kalen's getting to work, this uncertainty is crippling.
It does. It absolutely. I completely understand. And
Bring my hand to keep squeezing.
But the thing too is that we're pretty lucky because the decisions you and I are making the next several weeks and the decisions we've made the last several years, we could happily eat 3 pieces of toast for dinner and go to bed and be okay. At least we don't have to take care of any of our children. And
I've got fur baby to tend to, and you've got 3 of them.
Yep.
As much as I detest that term,
Mm-hmm.
it's little kitty thing that would very much like you to keep feeding it.
Yes. So there are worse things that could be happening. At least we're not a single parent of 3 working 3 jobs.
Yeah.
So I would gladly pay a little extra in taxes a month to make sure that person doesn't starve. And the sooner people realize that, if we all pitch in a very little bit, then a couple of us don't have to pitch in a lot. So let's try to be good to each other. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's situation's different. So before we're quick to judge, let's maybe hit the brakes on that turn and come out alive on the other side.
I'm sorry, I just bought a powder out.
We will leave you with this. Steve, when Emily was going through her cancer treatments, insurance would not cover a wig. Do you know what they would cover? She still got her wig, but it couldn't say wig on it. Our Dr. Bob is fantastic. Dr. Mitchell. He's oncologist here in Charlotte, and he's Emily's doctor. They wouldn't cover a wig.
They would cover a head cover.
It's even more wordy than that. Do you know what they did cover and gave us money to purchase? A scalp prosthetic. You had to word it like that to get them to get you something. Of a scalp prosthetic. You couldn't say wig. This is why the country's broken. But Steve's got grumpy face. We're out of this beer. Steve, let's kill it off and go get something to eat. I am fucking starving.
My face hurts.
By the way, I have the live video stream pulled up, and I'm watching you flip the camera off. It's like a 20-second delay. It's fantastic. Wonder Twin powers activate. Form of salsa. Steve, I think we're done with this episode. This one's been an interesting and a good one. So 65, maybe we'll be on location.
What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here.
You belong here, Steve. Well, 64 in the book, 65 on the way. Anything to say to our departing? Any departing comments for the listeners or viewers?
I still can't drive 65.
What's 65? Is that a school zone?
That was the really bad update on I Can't Drive 55 from Hagar.
He didn't do that, did he?
Oh, yes. It's a thing. Oh, it's not good.
I believe you. Thanks for that oral picture.
Yeah. Your butchered future memory.
Butchered Future Memories would be a great... That'd be a great album title.
Total off call.
All right. He's Steve.
He's AJ.
We're CB.
GB.
And we'll see you...
Close enough.
We'll see you in 65.
Riddles.
Later.